that feeling when you had your first crush? Remember that feeling when you opened that first gift at Christmas and it was a PlayStation? And that Sunday, hot fudge Sunday on a Saturday afternoon. That feeling that you had is back. And the coach's perspective is back. I'm Jeff Gorham, and welcome to another season of high school and college football here on Riverside TV. We're going to cover at least 25 to 30 games, plus all of RCC's home games for the National Championship Tigers. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have a great crew. We have Pep Fernandez for the Friday night pep rallies. It'll follow every Friday night game with the scores, highlights, and fun beyond belief, to say the least. Well, we are now joined by my co-host in the booth, my buddy, the great Ghazal Hassan. How are you today, my friend?
As Chris Difton said on the inaugural broadcast of Unplugged on MTV, he was a guitarist for Squeeze. It's great to be back. And then he launched into pulling muscles from Michelle. Well, so that's my new beginning.
Well, I will say this: anytime you and I call a game, I'm pulling like old stories out of a hat. Like you can recall the Love Boat Season 7, Episode 3 guest stars. You know it all. You are a bastion of knowledge. But thank you again. And hey, what are your thoughts? Are you excited about football?
We had a great game in week one, a couple of local teams going at it. You got the rivalry this week, and then we roll right into 4 more Riverside teams. So it's a lot of Riverside football in this first 3 weeks we're cramming in. We're going to see, I think, 4 or 5 different teams from the city of Riverside, and that's kind of the intent. We even got an RCC game coming up, not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday. So all kinds of football smashed in. It's like those, when those fast food franchises, they give you the package deal, it's like $5, you get a bag of, a chicken sandwich, a burger, fries, and a dessert, all kind of crammed into one. So it's the value pack of Riverside football. There's going to be so much football for you in the next couple of weeks, you're going to probably throw up.
Well, we have Riverside Poly and John W. North this week. We also have the defending state champions, California School for the Deaf Riverside versus Foothill Christian. That will be on our secondary game on Friday night. But let's talk about the Riverside schools during that first week. Poly didn't play, but we had King. King was dominant. In 11 years, they have not beat Roosevelt, and they took care of business earlier this week. Hey, McMains, he is doing something special over there, isn't he?
McMains, yeah, we saw a little bit of it last year. I mean, we've seen it going back a few years, how innovative and creative he is, and he really was trying to kind of flip that program. If you remember, Kevin Corden was there. They got to the semifinal in 2016, couldn't quite make that win to get to the Division 5 final at the time. And Coach McMains got there. He's been building. He kind of had that first year was kind of a shotgun start because he got the job so late. And then last year we saw them progress. They won a playoff game, made the playoff for the second straight year for the first time since Kevin Corden did back in Ted Mashinsky did back in 06-07. And now he's going for the three-peat. Can he win 2 playoff games in back-to-back years? I think the talent is there, even though his league's going to be very tough this year, Jeff.
Well, I'll tell you what, he is doing a phenomenal job since showing up there on Wood Road, I should say. But there were other wins, a lot of surprises. Let's start with Arlington. Arlington coming out of the gate. I picked him to finish dead last. I think everybody in Riverside wants to beat me up for us. But how good are the Arlington Lions? They're starting to throw the football.
Hey, I picked them as my surprise team simply because I have faith in their head coach. He's an old long snapper, and those guys are cagey. Arlington's a baseball school anyway, Jeff, but I really do think, Coach Argamosa took over and they ran to a CIF title the first year. And I think maybe they set the bar, kind of hurt themselves, right? The expectation was kind of through the roof and it hurt them a little bit. Now, they were banged up a little bit the last 2 years. I think they're healthy now. They've kind of figured it out. They threw the ball a little bit, though. That's kind of the difference. He's kind of a meat and potatoes, ground chuck kind of guy, likes to keep it on the ground. But, I like when coaches can grow with nuance. And I think he has kind of seen the light. You need to be balanced, particularly in Riverside, and particularly if you want to. We always talk about this in the playoffs, that you can get to the playoffs. Your buddy Ken Batdorf, you can get to the playoffs playing smash mouth. There's nothing wrong with that. You can play physical on the defensive side. You can run the ball and stop the run. But down the road, in a playoff game, in a tight playoff game, You're going to need to have your quarterback make a play. And if you've never had him make a play in the regular season, it's hard to ask that when it's playoff time. But I'm all on board. New league for Arlington, new challenges, and we both like Kevin. We both think he's a great coach and a good guy, and I wish him nothing but success. But they're my surprise team here in 2024, Jeffrey.
Well, I believe that Ramona is going to play Arlington this week in their big rival match. But let's move on just down the road towards Corona, but just on the border of Riverside. Our friends over at Hillcrest, Travis Carter, has it going early.
Does. And I think you look at last year, they lost the number of close games, or they lost games late by one score. I think 3 or 4 games by one score. And they were disappointed. I think they felt they could have done a little bit more on the playoff side, but they were playing a little bit of catch up. And again, they got hit by a couple of injuries as well down the stretch. But Matt Ramos looks like he's the real deal. Had great numbers in the first week, and they got a bunch of guys back. They have, I think, 3/5 of their offensive line back. They got 4 or 5 really solid skill players back, and more importantly, I think 4 of their top 5 tacklers on defense are back. So when you can put that core together, good things will happen. And, we all really like Coach Carter and think he's done a great job over there. And this is the year I think they need to kind of pop. Again, new league for them as well.
Well, let's move back over to the River Valley League, where our dear friend Ken Batdorf, in his 66th year at the helm of Norte Vista, they had a big win over Silverado this past week. Silverado has been a staple up there in the desert, but he's playing a Royal Valley this week over in San Bernardino. I know we're going to have some highlights of that game Friday night on the pep rally. But Ken Batdorf, he just has it's a machine. They run the football. I will say this. They are going to throw at least 20 times on Friday night. I'm calling my shot now. Ken Batdorf is going to see if Mr. Bolander can do his work in the air.
The system is in place. Norte Vista is a football brand. It's like you go to In-N-Out, you get the cheeseburger or whatever, you get your thing, you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with Ken Batdorf. But like you mentioned, is Seth Bolander going to be that wrinkle for them that maybe if he needs to make a play in a playoff game, can he make that play? What are they going to do to put him in a position to make that play? Because the formula is in place. They've had tremendous success with the formula as it is. But if you'll remember, I think it was back in 2013, they had the Headland brothers, the 2 twins, play, and one of them was a linebacker, one of them was a quarterback. They threw the ball for over 1,000 yards that year, and they made it to the CIF final. So there is a precedent for it, albeit a long time ago. There is a precedent for Ken Batdorf to have that angle to his offense. But otherwise, you know what it's going to be. They're going to line it up. They're going to smash against you, and they're going to run the football. And they got plenty of guys to run the football.
Well, I'll tell you what. We haven't seen much of La Sierra. They took a lump earlier this week, but you never know, because there are some athletes there at La Sierra. We're going to get to see them later on this season against that Norte Vista team.
Yeah, year 3 of the Sean Moore regime. This kind of is the year generally when things start to take shape. You've put a program in place. You've had the freshmen now for 3 years. So all those people who are on the freshman team that first year, hopefully most of them are going to graduate up to varsity this year. But I kind of like the system they put in. They're kind of a fun team to watch, and it'll be interesting to see how they manage in terms of their schedule once they get to league play.
Well, before I let you go, we got to talk about the Friday night pep rally. Pep is not going to join us today, but hey, anybody who is tuning in right now and doesn't know anything about the pep rally, maybe you can share something without me saying too much.
I mean, it's fun. It's a great thing, and I hinted at it last week, or past Friday. It's just great to have Pep back. He does a lot. It takes a lot to put that show together. And I think you and I both feel very fortunate that we have Pep there to do that, kind of do the legwork. We do the game. We sprint over there and kind of jump in last minute, but he's kind of laid the groundwork there. And, I'd love to have a behind-the-scenes camera, because there's some absolutely hilarious stuff that goes on there. And then you get to meet kind of the crew that helps put it together, everyone from Scott Brocious to Ryan, to Andy and Kono when he's back there, all the people who help kind of put it, and I know I'm forgetting some people. All the people that kind of help put it together. August was there this week. They come in and we put it together, and then all the people who contribute the highlights. You know, like Pep has some people out getting highlights, but then other people send him highlights, and then it's a matter of, oh, can we use these highlights? What's going on here? You know, so it's fascinating to how that show gets put together, and it's a tremendous show, and I'm glad to just be a small part of it. And obviously, you go from being Bill Walton to being Lee Corso on the studio shows, and then we had Coach Rice be able to contribute to it, which I think he definitely adds something and enhances it from somebody who's been on the ground on Friday nights for many, many years, coaching at the high school level, and more importantly, coaching in the city of Riverside, kind of understanding kind of the ebbs and flows of how that all works.
Yeah, John Rice will have his own show. It'll be a Red Zone type show. We're still coming up with a name. I'm thinking the Rice Zone, but then that makes me hungry, so I don't know if we're going to call it that. But make sure
the Rice Bowl. The Rice Bowl.
The Rice Bowl.
We'll get a sponsorship from Waba Grill, because they do the Rice Bowls.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to have so much fun this season. And once again, thank you, Gazal, for always being there in the booth with me and being my friend. You are such a huge part of this football season and here at Riverside TV. You are a treasure. I love you, my friend, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
I'm going to miss you this week, but I'm ready to rock and roll. That weekend, we're going to have so many games. It's a triple header, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I'm raring to go for it. And same to you, buddy. Love you too, buddy.
Well, we're going to have Jerron Gilbert next up, followed by O.P. Vaiapulu of John W. North. The Bears and the Huskies are going to battle it out. We'll have both of those guys coming up here on The Coach's Perspective, only on Riverside TV. And welcome back to The Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV, as we are now joined by the head coach of Riverside Poly, Jerron Gilbert. How you doing, Coach?
And doing great. Excited for this upcoming week, getting the season started. What can be better, getting ready to go.
First of all, I want to congratulate you on last year's success. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better than having a Poly Ramona CIF championship. Sorry it didn't come out on your end, but being a Ramona guy, I was kind of happy. But still, I love you, Coach. I think you do a great job, but congratulations once again.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it was an exciting season last year. Slower start than we would have liked, but we pulled things together at the right time, and now we're looking to build off of it and get things started a little faster this season.
Well, Coach, you open with the crosstown rival, I should say, between John W. North at 3rd and Chicago. What do you know about the Huskies so far this year? I know you and Coach O.P. Vaiapulu worked this out so you guys could play this game this year.
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for them, and I know they're going to be able to run the football. We've got to focus in and stop that running game. I'm not expecting, obviously last game there were some turnovers and it wasn't a clean game. Actually reminded me of our Ramona game in the championship where we just got behind early off our own mistakes. And it was a tough deal. But, after all those mistakes, they only lost by 14 points. So we still think they're a good team and we expect them to show up fully ready to go. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. We got to bring everything we have, and we'll see them on the field Friday.
Well, you do have a lot of returning players from your Poly team last year, including Victor Aguilar, the great quarterback. What kind of growth has he made over the last 6 months?
He's come a long way. He's looking a lot more comfortable in the pocket. He's got a season under his belt now, so he's a lot more poised, and we're looking to see a lot of great things out of him. I mean, we saw his maturation during the season last year, and over the off season with enough 7-on-7 reps and being behind the center a little bit more, he's grown into a guy that we feel like we can trust to lead us through this season.
Now you have a big left tackle. I know you like the lineman coach, Marco Morales. He's a returning starter. What do you expect from him this season?
Marco's going to be just what he is. He's a great kid. He works hard. He's everything you want from a player. I mean, we voted our captains. He was 100% unanimous vote as a leader on our team, and he's a guy that puts in the work. Excellent leader. He takes care of business in the classroom, and he's physical. He finishes blocks. So I don't expect anything less but a great season out of Marco. He's done all the right things up to this point.
And then we go to your wide receiver corps. Matt Henry's another phenomenal player. He's a basketball player, and he plays all these different sports. He's a 4.0 athlete. Are you expecting big things from him at the receiver spot?
Another kid that does all the right things. I think he's above a 4.0. He's a baseball player, played basketball. He's a really good athlete with playmaking ability. So he's we're looking at for him to really break out this year and get things going fast with him from the start.
We got Michael Gaines Jr. coming back, Benji Matthews, who we called his name a number of times last season, and then Devin Harden, the junior. I mean, how many Hardens are coming up? Is this the last Harden we're going to see at Riverside Poly?
This is the last Harden for a while. Those boys have their own, but yeah, those three young guys, they're really going to be an anchor on our defense, along with our linebackers, linebacker Paul Robles. But those guys returning from last year, they know what it's like. They've been there, and we're expecting them to lead the energy, lead the cause. Benji just does a heck of a job on both sides of the ball. D-line, his pass rushing ability has really grown this offseason. We're looking for him to really continue to grow and even be better than last year. And he's also a good fullback, one of our best blockers. So utilizing him along with MJ and what he brings to the table, and Devin, that speed and athleticism, we're looking for them to be the impact players for us.
Now, you do have a sophomore. I believe he was the long jump champion last year as a freshman, league champion, Leon Shorter. Is he a strong safety? And tell us a little bit about your secondary, if you can.
Leon, safety. We have Leon. We have Corey Edwards. We have just guys ready to go. Matt Padilla is playing some corner for us, also receiver from last year. These guys have developed this offseason, and we're looking for great things. We're athletic in the secondary. It's just a matter of them doing their job and showing up this offseason. But we're expecting big things out of those guys this year.
Now, your league situation has kind of changed a little bit this season. What are your goals as far as team goals and then personal goals, if you have any?
My personal goals to the side. We're in this thing for championships. Make no mistake about it. Wherever they come from. So definitely league champions. Hopefully, we're looking to get back into the show and win it this time. And I think if that's not a goal of yours, you're in the wrong sport, you're in the wrong business. So we're just looking to go out there and win, but ultimately take it game by game. These city games really matter to us as much as they do to anybody else in our city. So winning these city games, becoming league champs, and moving forward, that's the goal. Now we're going to have a lot of resistance in that path. There's a lot of great teams we're looking to face this year. So we just have to, make sure we're not shooting ourselves in the foot, playing clean games and executing and playing full speed, and we're going to have a chance. And that's all we can hope for is a chance to win at the end of the day.
Now, you guys scrimmaged. I think you scrimmaged a pretty good team earlier this last week, a couple teams. But now, I'm going to ask you this first game of the year for you. Are you guys playing Ramona again this season?
We have Ramona scheduled in week 4. And that's another one. Boy, they get up for us, and we're going to get up for them, and it should be a great show at that point. But right now, all eyes are on North. We're looking to really take care of business this first week, and expecting them to bring everything they have.
Now, last thing before I let you go, I know you guys are back at Wheelock Stadium this season. I'll tell you what, growing up as a kid, going to the Poly football games, yes, as a Ramona guy, still, my dad went to Poly, so I used to go to a lot of Poly football games. Mike Churchill's one of my dearest friends. How exciting is it for you to have your own stadium again?
Well, look, we have some orange on the field now.
That's true.
And we're back to our original home, so we're excited. Kids are excited. It's going to be a great atmosphere. We finally have some place we can call home in the city, and we're looking to take advantage of that. So we're really looking forward to home games this year, and great excitement, great atmosphere. A little closer to most of the kids that go to our school, so they'll be able to make it to more games this year. So it's everything's good on that end.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. I will be on the call Friday night. I'll see you. I like the beard look. It's a good look for you, Coach. And looking forward to hanging out with you and OP before the game. And good luck the rest of the season. We'll be watching you and being there all season long on Riverside TV. Thanks, Coach.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All righty. That is the great coach, Jerron Gilbert. And we will be right back with more on the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. My next guest is the great coach of 3rd and Chicago at John W. North High School, Opalani Vaiapulu. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, this is the second week we've had you on in a row here for Riverside TV. Last week was a tough one versus my old Ramona Rams. I'll tell you what, it would have been a close game. It just turnover bug kind of bit you that first week. And, you know, the first week jitters, sometimes teams do real well and sometimes they fumble. Yeah. But you have some talented guys. You got a talented quarterback with Zavala this year. You have Bronson Hogue. There's some pretty good talent there and a very good offensive and defensive line. What are you expecting this week, Coach?
Well, I'm hoping that we limit the mental mistakes. You know, that's the biggest thing on early games and playing like a big game like we did last week is who can make the less mistakes usually wins the games. And obviously, Ramona, hats off to them. They didn't. Right? That was all us. Obviously, the ball security. We feel that we didn't come out and show what we truly could have played out there. And a lot of mistakes that were made that day. So we're hoping at least we can, you know, fix those things, right? Just the little things, and hopefully come out and have a better outing against Poly.
Now, like myself, I'm a Ramona Ram. You are a Riverside Poly graduate. How fun is it playing against your alma mater?
It's fun. I mean, yeah, class of 02, baby, Riverside Poly High. It's not my first time playing against them. My first time at North was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. We played at Poly. You know, we feel like Benedict Arnold a little bit on the first sideline, and you see the Bear Country flag across the sidelines, but then you get used to it, and then the game starts, and you know you're ready to go. But it's always good just to have that Poly North game again.
Well, I'll tell you what, I just spoke with Jerron Gilbert, and Jerron said some really nice things about you. What are your thoughts on Coach Jerron? I know you guys organized this so you guys could play this game.
He's awesome. I mean, I don't really know him that well, but just the small time that I've talked to him and interacted with him a couple of 7-on-7s and stuff. And he's got it going at Poly. You know, they played for CIF last year, and they're heading the right direction. I know they got some talented guys as well, and he'll have them ready to go. And so, Coach Gilbert is doing a great job at Poly.
Well, Coach, you know, last week was something special. You know, I wore my Polynesian shirt for you and my funky shoes, but it was for a good reason because Danny Esau, who was an assistant coach at Riverside Ramona, passed away recently. And I know your family, you guys were related and you guys did something special before the game. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was cool. Actually, Coach Mashinsky reached out. Wanted to do something in honor of Coach Danny. And, you know, we obliged, obviously. We didn't want to take away from what they were doing, so we kept it simple. Had me and my Uncle Steve go out there and give flowers to Stella and Kayla, his wife and daughter, you know, in memory of Danny. Because every year we played them, there was a lot of trash talking going on and stuff, but, you know, it was great. It was great for the boys to come out there with the flag. It was great to see the shirts. It was awesome.
Well, Coach, you know, you've been doing this now for a couple of years as the head coach at John W. North. You know, I know how much family means to you. I know your wife, I am going to say this, your wife made you cut off that cool tail you used to have. We were just talking about that. But as a father, how is coaching, how has being a father made you a better coach, you think?
Well, I think, you know, just family, my Polynesian roots, my Tongan roots, the family has always been big, you know, and really in the islands, it literally is, it takes a village. And then obviously you treat the boys like your own boys. So when I was younger, these guys were my nephews, my little brothers, and as I got older, they're my boys. You know, and obviously having my own children in the last couple of years, it's been even more become more passionate and try to get these guys ready to go, becoming better men, ready for society, ready to be productive citizens out there through the great sport of football. Teaching them all of the great things of being a man through the sport. So it's been awesome, and I love my kids, 3 kids.
Well, Coach, I know it's your home opener against Riverside Poly. Everybody hates Poly, but I'm looking forward to seeing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to being on the call and seeing you again. Good luck the rest of the season, and as always, you are a true gentleman to the sport here in Riverside, and I appreciate you very much, Coach.
Appreciate you guys too, man. You're doing an awesome job of having us out here. People from across the nation can see Riverside football, so it's awesome.
That will do it for this week's adventure here on the Coach's Perspective. Remember, we're going to have North Poly Friday night, CSDR versus Foothill Christian. Next week, we're going to have a triple header. We're going to have a Thursday game between King and North. Then Friday, it will be Hillcrest versus Ramona. And then college football Saturday afternoons are back as RCC, the defending national champions, are going to take on Long Beach City College. We will have all the action all season long here only on Riverside TV. Good night, everybody.